Hey, everybody, this is Dr. William Clark here for Leadership Conversations. This is the show where we talk about leadership according to the world that matters to you. And I wanted to talk with you about how to build team camaraderie. And I have been asked over the years, why does culture matter so much, and then how do you build a successful organizational culture? And it's a valid question, to be honest with you, because I think a lot of leaders, especially when they're coming into an organization and they're taking over a team, they struggle with inserting their leadership principles and expectations upon people and sticking to their guns. And so what they find is that they're fighting a culture that pre-exists them, and they're dealing with people who've been around for quite a while. And as a new person, people tend to treat you a certain type of way, even if you have the title of, quote, leader. At the end of the day, building a culture is vital to your leadership. It's vital to the success of the organization, to the project that you're leading, to the department that you're leading. And one of those elements that goes into developing a solid culture is developing team camaraderie. And I will say that's not easy to do. It does take time. It does take effort, just like anything else when it comes to becoming a sound, good, skilled leader. But I wanted to share some thoughts with you around building team camaraderie, and I do ask that you engage with me, which on whatever platform you're listening to, Instagram TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or your podcasting platform of choice. Engage with me because I know that there's going to be more than the four things I'm going to list here, but I do want to share these four things with you just as food for thought and for you to consider on how to build team camaraderie. Here's the first thing I want to share with you. This is important for you as a leader. You got to share yourself with other people and allow people to accept you. Now, leaders, especially new leaders, are notorious for saying, I'm going to go in and going to change things, going to shift everything, and I'm going to shake it up and just turntables all over the place, right? And ultimately, I get it. I understand it. There is a place for that sometimes. But there isn't enough consideration given to the strategy of sharing yourself with other people and allowing people to accept you for who you are. The reason you want to do this share of yourself is because you want to create a culture and a belief system of transparency. Now, everything I'm about to share with you in this particular podcast does not guarantee 100% success. All right. People are going to be people. You're going to be you. You're going to be unique. There are going to be circumstances that are going to challenge what I am saying and sharing with you. But I've learned and discovered that these things I'm sharing with you have worked not only with me, but with others. And it's been proven that these things are helpful in building camaraderie. But when you share of yourself and when you give of yourself and when you start to peel back the onion of who you are, remove the secrecy and the mystique of who you are, people start to feel like they know you. Now, of course, some leaders are going to say, well, you don't want people to know too much about you. You don't want people to feel like they just have the right to treat you any type of way because they think they, quote, know you. That's not necessarily what I'm getting at. What team members want to feel is your humanity. They want to feel that you are normal, that you go through things like they do. People want to feel like they know you, they understand you, and that you understand them. They want to feel like there's something you share in common, and there's already a built-in understanding that you're the leader and they are a part of the team. But that sharing of yourself kind of demystifies the mystique of who you are, especially when you're new to a team and you're walking into an environment where you're introducing yourself and your leadership principles. So when you share of yourself, you share of your experiences, you open that door. And I'm not talking about, hey, I got experiences. I got experience running a team. I got experience getting results. I got experience raising funds. I got experience developing partnerships. I got experience running a business. Like that stuff matters. You wouldn't have been hired or selected, or you wouldn't have launched this business if you didn't have that experience. So throw that to the side for a second. What people want to know about you is what makes you you. One of the most exposing moments I had in the past 2 years was when I lost my hair almost 2 years ago. And I took on a new job and was walking into a team that I didn't know anybody. And they obviously met me bald, so it didn't matter to them. that I was bald. They didn't see me with hair. And those of you watching the podcast, you're now noticing I got hair now. Yes, that has changed from last year. My hair did grow back, and I suffer from a condition called alopecia areata, and it's a common condition. But for men that suffer with that, we are unable to mask that condition. Women, I discovered, could wear wigs, could wear hats or scarves, and they could style it up, and it looks just as beautiful on them as if they had hair. But for guys, there was no scarf, there was no hat, there was no head wrap, there was nothing to cover your condition. And as a guy, the only option was to shave your head bald as tight as you could. And even at that, if you looked hard enough and knew where to look, you could see the bald patches still on the bald scalp of a man. For me, I had large patches just missing all over the place. And at the time I started this new job, I was just now being able to be okay with the condition and how I looked and how I appeared. But there was a moment where I felt like, you know what? I felt some insecurity creeping in, and I wanted to share this with the team. This was early on, probably in the first 2 weeks. And I said to myself, I did not want me to sit in the front of a room, them look at the back of my head and see the large patches missing. And it could have been just me being insecure, but I just wanted to share that first for my own health and benefit, to get it out the way so that it's a known quantity. And if people talk about it, if people see it, it didn't matter. But two, I wanted to share something personal with them, and the reason I developed the condition, it wasn't necessarily for health reasons. It was reasons that were related to my profession, and I wanted to share that with them so that they could connect with me. And so I shared the story, and people, they related. They had their own stories to share about health and stress, and work, and the importance of taking care of self and how it impacts your family, how it impacts the work family, if you will, our team members. And it was an awesome conversation that lasted for quite a while that day, but it also lasted weeks and sometimes months after the initial sharing of that information. And so it was a moment of transparency for me. It was a moment that I allowed myself to share something personal with my team. Otherwise, if I didn't share that, they wouldn't have known that I had hair. It just would have been a style choice that they thought I decided to take on. But I decided to share something personal with them, and I allowed myself to be accepted by my team at that point. And it was life changing for me. It also impacted the culture because it was an open conversation. It was just an example of, look, this is personal, and I want to share this with you. And I want you to know this about me, and I want you to wrestle with this with me as I struggle. Some people share with me, I had this condition, I dealt with it this way, I used this ointment and this treatment. Others shared their personal conditions with me and talked about the importance of managing stress. So it became a thing. And sharing of yourself as the leader is an important thing for you to do, because it opens the door. But also, it allows you the opportunity to let people accept you. Sometimes as leaders, we don't let people accept us for who we are, for our struggles, for our downs, for our insecurities. All of that makes you you as leader. Your greatness, how you look, how well you perform, it doesn't tell the full story of who you are and how you became who you are. It's the ups and the downs, the dips and the highs, the peaks and the valleys, the good and the bad. All of that defines who you are, and you got to share that with your team. Number two, just as important as it is for you to share and allow yourself to be accepted by your team, you have to allow people to the ability to share with you, and you got to allow yourself to accept people for who they are. You are going to take on team members who may have a reputation that you're not too fond of. You're going to take on people who have personal stories that you may not agree with, or they may have lifestyle choices that you may not agree with. They may have made decisions that makes you say, what? Why? Regardless of what people share with you, regardless of what people end up conveying to you about themselves, when they do that, especially the first time, but when they do it every time after that, They are sharing information to see if they can trust you with that information. They're sharing it to see how you react, because in some cases they've shared it before and they've been judged, and they want to see if you're going to judge them too. And if you judge them, if you overreact, if you act in a way that makes them feel weird, they have gotten a signal to no longer share with you ever again. And if they feel like you use that information against them, they will know that they are not welcome on the team. People just like you, they're human, and they're sharing this stuff with you to determine where they stand on the team. If the whole goal is to build camaraderie, if the whole goal is to build a relationship with the entire team and to build closeness, to build oneness, to build a culture that everybody believes in, when they share, a non-judgment zone is needed, and you have to show that you still accept them regardless of what they're sharing. Again, we started out this podcast saying, listen, I'm going to share me and I'm going to allow you to accept me as who I am. You got to return that favor. You have to give back what you are giving in order for it to have the designated impact. And right now we're trying to get to the point of building camaraderie, building a culture where people feel accepted, a part of, one of, a member of, family member of, team member of. You got to accept people, man. And you got to hear their stories. It doesn't matter if you're a leader of a nonprofit, a for-profit, a church. People are people, and they come with pre-existing conditions. What are you going to do when they share information with you? Here's the third step. So obviously you've already shared yourself with them. You allowed them to accept you. Secondly, you've accepted them and you've allowed them to share with you. Here's what you got to do to build camaraderie. And I said it before, but it's worth repeating. Do not judge. Don't allow yourself to be judged for your experiences, for your mistakes, for your failures. Don't let your team judge you, because you want to set the precedent that, listen, I'm sharing this freely. Don't misuse it. Don't abuse it. Don't judge me. And as you set that precedent, you got to set the example of what it means to not judge when people share things with you. When you set that tone that we share freely, open, and honestly, it's a safe place. You want people to feel like it's safe. You want people to know that it's safe. You want people to believe without a shadow of a doubt it is safe for you to be you. You were hired to be you, and if I inherited you as a member of this team, you will be accepted on this team for being you. Quirks and all, weirdness and all, mistakes and all, flaws and all, greatness and all, awesomeness and all, whatever you got to bring to the table, all of that makes you you, and we accept you. Just like me as a leader, I'm coming to this team to help us get to a desired point. I'm believing that you're going to accept me for all that I am, good, bad, ugly. We're family now. We stuck together. Let's figure it out. So create that environment where judgment is not accepted. And lastly, to glue all this together, share yourself, allow people to share with you, accept it all, don't judge. The thing that brings all this together is to share and accept often, and to do it over and over and over again. If you think you can share one thing about yourself once you get hired, and 2 years down the road, that will be all you have had to do, you will be sadly mistaken. Camaraderie is built upon a repetitive behavior, a show of consistency, ongoing sharing, ongoing acceptance, a reproving, a reacceptance, a rededication of trust must continue to be normalized within your team. If you don't share often, and often doesn't mean every week, It doesn't mean once a month. It can be just on a regular basis. If you only share once and you haven't shared in years, people feel like they don't know you because obviously life has happened over the past couple years. But when you share often and when people feel free to share often with you, it's almost like reconnecting in a fresh way. And it gives people a chance, when you share often, it gives people a chance to reconnect with you, to understand you and some of the changes they've noticed in you. They just couldn't put their finger on what's changed about you. It's giving them a chance to be empathetic with your situation. It gives people a chance to share with you similar experiences or just a different experience that they just want to get off their chest. And vice versa. When people share with you, it gives you a chance to reconnect, to understand, okay, I know Mary has been a little different. I couldn't put my finger on it. She didn't feel comfortable sharing. Now that she shared, I get it now. Okay. That makes so much sense. Well, let me be sensitive to her a little bit more. Let me let her know that she doesn't have to worry about work while she's going through X, Y, and Z. Let me share with her that, man, I went through this 3, 4, 5 years ago with my own family. Let me share with her some inspirational quote. Let me let her know I'm praying for her. My thoughts and prayers are with her. This is a two-way street. You, as a leader, you'll be surprised how often your staff will say those positive words to you. When you're going through, when you're struggling, it's those random words of kindness, of affirmation, of those words of peace, those words of faith, those words of hope that your staff will randomly share with you, or they share with you knowing that they can see it on your face. You're going through something. It will diffuse pressure and stress when they share that stuff with you. And it just makes you feel, even as the leader, it makes you feel like, man, I belong on this team, even though I'm leading the team. That camaraderie that you feel, that you create, that camaraderie your team feels that they create, that cohesion, that oneness can't be broken. It's so unique, and even though people will try to disrupt it or try to break it up, will try to devalue it, they would try all types of stuff. Man, that camaraderie is unbreakable. And when y'all go through stuff together, highs and lows as a team, y'all fail together, y'all make mistakes together, y'all screw up together, y'all win together, y'all succeed together. It's together. We're not throwing you away. No one person is bigger than the next. No, we did this together. We failed together. We win together. That's it. And that type of culture, people are dying to be a part of that. They will give whatever they can to be a part of that sense of team. My friend, if you're looking to be an awesome leader, a skilled leader, a leader that can overcome anything that's thrown your way in your line of business, you need a good team. And when you get a good team, don't let them go. And when you don't let them go, you got to build that camaraderie so that they don't want to go. And if they got to go, it's because of circumstances that are far beyond your control. Camaraderie changes everything. It changes everything. I can go on and on about this topic. As you can see, this particular podcast is much longer than I intended it to be, and much longer than previous podcasts. But it's worth it. Camaraderie is valuable to developing solid teams, a solid culture, and strengthening your leadership. Listen, if you don't do anything else, let me just share this with you. Don't be selfish. Share this podcast, please. Share it with a friend, tag a teammate, tag someone that you are talking with about becoming a better leader. Tag someone you're mentoring, tag a mentee, tag a mentor. Share it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram TV, YouTube. Share it, please. Your favorite podcasting platform. Share it. Leave a comment. Because people need to know that coming into a team as a new leader, it is possible to win and succeed. It's not impossible. You can do it. You can make it happen. I hope this was helpful. This is Dr. William Clark for Leadership Conversations. I can't wait to see you in the next show. Peace.